Hey guys, tonight we're diving into a quiet art form, one that's been folded, creased, and turned into an iconic tradition for centuries. It's not about origami cranes or fancy paper swans, though they're part of the story, but the slow, deliberate art of folding paper into intricate shapes, and how it has become one of Japan's most beloved cultural practices. Imagine a calm, soft-lit room where all you hear is the gentle rustling of paper, the slow and steady folding of a simple square into something beautiful, serene, and full of meaning. You probably won't survive this process, in the sense that your hands might cramp from trying to match those perfect folds. But hey, that's part of the journey. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. What time is it? Where you are? Leave me a comment, and let's share this moment of calm across the globe. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Our story begins in Japan, but not in the bustling streets of Tokyo or the scenic temples of Kyoto. No, we're going to travel back a few centuries to a time when paper was still a luxury item, and the art of folding it was reserved for the elite. Paper, once a rare and precious commodity in Japan, was seen as more than just a tool for writing. It was an essential part of rituals, ceremonies, and even sacred practices. Imagine the reverence with which ancient Japanese craftsmen would handle the delicate paper, folding it not just into shapes, but into vessels for meaning. In its earliest forms, origami wasn't necessarily an art form as we know it today. It started as a practical and ceremonial practice, with folded paper being used in rituals and offerings to the gods. The earliest evidence of paper folding dates back to the 6th century, around the time paper was first introduced to Japan from China. But it wasn't until the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, that origami began to evolve into something more artistic, something that would eventually captivate people, both in Japan and around the world. Imagine standing in an ancient Japanese home, watching as a master craftsman takes a single sheet of paper and folds it in a series of careful steps, transforming it into a simple shape, perhaps a crane, but full of symbolic meaning. It's not just about the shape, it's about the patience, the stillness of the act. This was the beginning of a practice that would one day be considered an art form. As we continue on this journey of paper and patience, let's take a deeper look at the material itself. Paper. In the early days of origami, it wasn't the glossy, mass-produced paper we're familiar with today. No, the paper used in ancient Japan was much more delicate, handcrafted, and revered. And it wasn't just any paper. It was washi, a traditional Japanese paper made from the fibers of the mulberry tree. This type of paper had an exceptional quality. It was light, yet strong, flexible, and highly absorbent. Washi was also a symbol of Japan's connection to nature, made from the trees and plants that were abundant in the country. Washi paper, crafted in small batches by skilled artisans, was used for more than just writing. It was central to ceremonies and rituals, often used in religious offerings and sacred texts. In fact, many of the earliest forms of paper folding had spiritual or ritualistic meanings. For example, during the Heian period, 794 to 1185, the art of folding paper was used in religious practices, where folded paper was offered as a token to the gods. The intricate folds were believed to have special significance, with each fold symbolizing a different blessing or protection. Historians still argue whether the art of origami truly began with the arrival of paper in Japan from China, or if it was an independent evolution. What we do know is that by the time we reach the Edo period, paper folding had evolved from a religious practice to an art form in its own right. At this point, origami had begun to take on an entirely different meaning. It wasn't just about using paper for spiritual or ceremonial purposes. It was about creating something beautiful and intricate out of something simple and humble. Imagine being in a bustling Edo marketplace, surrounded by craftsmen and women, each focused on their craft. You'd hear the soft rustling of washi as it was folded, the delicate movements of the artisan's hands, creating one of the many traditional shapes, perhaps a crane or a butterfly. These simple designs were not just for decoration. They often carried symbolic meanings. The crane, for example, was a symbol of longevity and good fortune in Japanese culture. By the end of the Edo period, origami had moved from the elite circles of Japan's courts to the hands of common folk. People started folding paper, not only for ritual purposes, but also as a form of entertainment and creativity, creating intricate models in their home or for small festivals. As you imagine these simple yet elegant origami creations, you begin to understand why they would capture the imagination of so many. The process was meditative, slow, and deliberate. In an era where life was often rushed and chaotic, the act of folding a piece of paper into a beautiful form was an invitation to slow down, to take a breath, and to appreciate the small things. This is what makes origami so timeless. It invites you to pause and reflect, to give your full attention to the present moment. It's a simple act that carries with it a deep sense of mindfulness. Now that we've seen how origami started to take shape as both a ritual and an art form, let's explore the very essence of the craft, the folding patterns. You might think of origami as just creating cranes, frogs, or boats, but these basic shapes are the gateway to a world of infinite designs. The beauty of origami lies not only in the end result, but also in the intricate steps that lead to it. Each fold is like a puzzle piece, carefully constructed to fit together and create something meaningful. It's almost like each piece of paper carries within it a secret pattern waiting to be uncovered with patience and skill. The first forms of origami were relatively simple basic shapes that could be folded using just a few steps. As the craft evolved, so did the complexity of the designs. Some of the most iconic shapes, like the crane, are made from just a few folds, yet they carry deep symbolic meaning. The crane is particularly significant in Japanese culture. It's a symbol of peace, longevity, and good fortune. In fact, there's a beautiful legend that says, if you fold one zerozen origami cranes, you'll be granted a wish. The simplicity of the crane, with its elegant wings and poised beak, captures the essence of origami. Taking a humble square of paper and transforming it into something graceful and meaningful. But not all origami was about symbolism. As time went on, the craft began to be used as a form of storytelling, with intricate designs, telling stories, or representing various elements of nature. Imagine folding a paper fish, each fold carefully adding texture and movement to the design, or a flower, with each petal emerging from a single sheet of paper, slowly taking shape as the artist's hands guide it. Origami began to reflect the natural world, with artists folding paper into representations of animals, plants, and even landscapes. In this way, origami became a kind of paper-based storytelling, where each fold told a part of the story, creating an unfolding narrative that could be held in the palm of your hand. Historians still argue whether the early forms of origami were purely utilitarian, or whether they were always imbued with some form of symbolism or artistry. Some scholars believe that the original folds were part of ritualistic practices, perhaps offering symbols of protection or good fortune. Others argue that the art of origami started as a way to entertain and engage, turning simple pieces of paper into creative expressions. No matter the origin, it's clear that as the craft progressed, the need for intricate designs, more detailed folds, and creative innovations became paramount. Imagine now standing in a traditional Japanese household during the Edo period, watching an artist carefully fold a square of washi into a delicate, detailed shape. It's not a race, and there's no rush. The artist's hands move deliberately, folding, creasing, and adjusting, each fold representing a moment of careful attention. The process of making a single crane perhaps takes hours, with each step requiring patience and precision. There's a sense of peace in watching the artist work. Each fold builds upon the last, slowly creating something elegant and meaningful. It's easy to see why origami became not just a craft, but a meditative practice, allowing its practitioners to focus fully on the present moment. As you reflect on this, you begin to understand the true beauty of origami, not just in the paper creations themselves, but in the act of creating them. Origami forces you to slow down, to focus on each fold, and to appreciate the process just as much as the result. It's a quiet, personal journey, one that connects you to the tradition, to the materials, and to the art form itself. Whether you're folding a simple crane or an intricate flower, the act of creating is a form of mindfulness, a pause in the bustle of life, a moment of calm and concentration. Now that we've explored the artistry behind the basic folds, let's dive into something deeper, the cultural significance of origami, particularly in Japanese society. You see, while origami has become a beloved art form in its own right, it has always been more than just a craft in Japan. For centuries, the act of folding paper has been tied to tradition, philosophy, and even spiritual practice. It's not just about creating shapes from paper. It's about creating meaning, connection, and reflection through the folds. In the Shinto religion, for example, paper was believed to hold special powers. Washi paper, with its purity and connection to nature, was often used in sacred rituals and offerings to the gods. Origami, too, found its place in these spiritual practices. One of the earliest forms of origami was used to create ceremonial offerings, such as folded paper figures or symbolic shapes intended to bring good fortune or blessings. The process of folding the paper wasn't just a way to create an object. It was a way of connecting with the spiritual world. The act of folding was meditative, calming, and imbued with meaning, giving it a sense of reverence. Historians still argue whether the spiritual significance of origami was a natural development of the practice, or whether it was deliberately incorporated into religious rituals. Some scholars believe that the connection between origami and spirituality developed over time, while others argue that from the very beginning, paper folding was seen as a ritualistic act tied to the divine, regardless of how it began. Origami became an essential part of Japan's spiritual life. Even today, many people in Japan continue to use paper in spiritual rituals, folding it into offerings, or even creating intricate, folded decorations for festivals like New Year's and the Obon Festival. But origami's connection to Japanese culture goes beyond religion. In the Edo period, origami became a popular pastime for both the elite and common folk. It wasn't just an art form, it was a way of life, something that could be enjoyed by anyone, regardless of their social standing. During this time, origami was often used for entertainment, as well as for teaching discipline and patience. Parents would teach their children how to fold paper, using the art form as a way to instill values of precision, attention to detail, and mindfulness. It was a gentle, quiet activity that allowed people to slow down and focus on something simple yet meaningful. Imagine sitting in an Edo-era home surrounded by your family. The air smells faintly of incense, and the soft rustle of paper fills the room. As each person folds their own creation, perhaps you're folding a crane, or maybe a flower. Each fold brings you closer to completing the shape. And with each completed shape, you experience a quiet sense of satisfaction. The activity isn't rushed or forced. It's something to be enjoyed in the present moment. The paper doesn't just take on a new shape. It becomes a reflection of your attention and care. In fact, the connection between origami and mindfulness is something that has persisted even into modern times. In today's fast-paced world, many people turn to origami as a form of relaxation. The slow, deliberate process of folding paper allows you to take a break from the constant hustle and focus on something simple and calming. As you sit quietly, folding paper into different shapes, you can almost feel the tension in your body start to melt away. The process becomes a form of meditation, helping you slow down, clear your mind, and be fully present. Historians still debate whether the popularity of origami today is a natural extension of its cultural importance, or if it's a result of our modern desire for simplicity and mindfulness. Either way, it's clear that origami has remained relevant throughout history, adapting to the changing needs of society, while still maintaining its deep cultural significance. It has evolved from a ceremonial practice to a beloved art form, but it has always remained tied to Japan's core values of patience, mindfulness, and connection to the natural world. Now, imagine yourself sitting at a simple wooden table, a square piece of paper in front of you. You take a deep breath, and with each fold, you feel a sense of peace and connection to the centuries of tradition behind this humble craft. The paper in your hands, once just a blank sheet, is now taking on a life of its own, transforming into something that reflects both your care and the long history of origami. As we delve deeper into the tranquil art of origami, let's now take a step back and appreciate its role as not just a craft, but a cultural symbol that spans beyond Japan's borders. While origami's roots are firmly planted in Japanese tradition, it has spread far and wide, captivating the imaginations of people across the world. Its influence can be seen in everything from modern art to mathematics, and even in contemporary architecture. The delicate, meditative act of folding paper has somehow transcended geographical and cultural boundaries, becoming a universal language of creativity, patience, and possibility. You might be surprised to learn that origami wasn't just about creating cranes and flowers for centuries. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, as Japan became more connected with the world through trade and cultural exchange, origami found its way into the hands of artists and scholars in the West. It wasn't long before origami began to inspire Western artists who saw in it not just a charming craft, but a unique form of artistic expression that combined both precision and creativity. Many Western artists, especially during the modernist movement, adopted origami's simple forms and clean lines, incorporating them into their work and using them to challenge traditional artistic boundaries. One of the most notable moments in origami's global journey occurred when it caught the attention of mathematicians. Yes, you read that, won't? Origami and mathematics have an unexpected but fascinating connection. In the 20th century, mathematicians began to explore the geometry behind paper folding. Origami offered a hands-on approach to understanding spatial relationships, angles, and symmetry. By folding paper, they could visualize and model complex mathematical concepts that would otherwise be difficult to grasp. Some mathematicians even found ways to use origami to solve real-world problems, such as designing folding structures for space exploration or creating efficient packaging solutions. It's amazing to think that an ancient art form, initially developed for cultural and spiritual purposes, could play such a pivotal role in the advancement of modern science and technology. Historians still argue whether the full potential of origami in the realm of mathematics has been realized. Some believe that the exploration of origami's geometric properties is still in its infancy, with untapped possibilities waiting to be discovered. Others contend that origami's role in mathematics has been overstated, and that its influence is more symbolic than practical. Either way, it's clear that origami has bridged the gap between art and science, creating a lasting connection between two fields that might otherwise seem worlds apart. As you picture the precision of a mathematician's hands carefully folding a sheet of paper to demonstrate a theorem or solve a puzzle, you start to appreciate how origami offers more than just aesthetic beauty. It's an elegant, physical manifestation of mathematical concepts, where every fold represents a geometric truth waiting to be uncovered. The paper is no longer just a canvas for artistic expression. It becomes a tool for understanding the universe in a more tactile way. But while origami found its place in the world of mathematics, it also continued to thrive as an art form. In the modern world, artists and designers are still using origami to create innovative works. Some artists have pushed the boundaries of traditional paper folding by incorporating materials other than paper, like metal, fabric, and plastic, into their work. The crisp folds and sharp lines of origami have inspired everything from avant-garde fashion collections to large-scale public sculptures. In architecture, too, the influence of origami can be seen in the work of designers who use folding techniques to create dynamic, flexible, and space-efficient structures. It's as though the art of folding has come full circle, finding new relevance in a world that increasingly values efficiency and innovation. Now, let's pause and think about the world we live in today. We're constantly bombarded with fast-paced technology, and the simple, meditative act of folding paper might seem like a distant relic of the past. Yet, origami continues to captivate and inspire. Whether it's the satisfaction of folding a piece of paper into a perfect crane, or the way it's used in cutting-edge design and technology, origami has endured through time because it speaks to something deeply human: our need for creativity, patience, and mindfulness. as you reflect on the journey of origami, from its early ceremonial uses in Japan to its global influence today. Think about how this quiet art form has persisted. It's not just about making paper figures. It's about taking something simple and transforming it into something beautiful and meaningful. In a world where we often feel rushed and disconnected, origami offers us the chance to slow down, focus on the present, and create something with our own hands, one fold at a time. As we move forward in our journey through the tranquil world of origami, let's explore the symbolic weight that these paper folds carry. It's one thing to admire origami as an art form, but it's something else entirely to understand how deeply connected it is to Japanese culture and philosophy. Each crease, each fold is a deliberate act, a mindful gesture that symbolizes much more than just the shape it creates. In Japan, the act of folding paper became a representation of patience, thoughtfulness, and even spirituality qualities that are deeply valued in their culture. One of the most iconic and widely recognized shapes in origami is the crane. To many, this graceful paper bird has become synonymous with peace and good fortune. The story behind the origami crane is not just a pretty tale. It's a piece of cultural and emotional history. The crane has long been a symbol in Japanese folklore, representing longevity and happiness. But it's the modern association with the origami crane that adds layers of meaning. Perhaps the most famous story is that of Sadako Sasaki, a young girl who, after being diagnosed with leukemia due to the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, folded 1,000 cranes in the hope of achieving her wish for peace and health. Her story and the story of the cranes she folded became a symbol of peace, not just in Japan, but across the world. Historians still argue over whether the association of the crane with peace originated from this tragic story, or if it was a deeper cultural connection that had been in place long before the bombing of Hiroshima. Regardless, the symbol of the crane has taken on a new meaning in the context of origami. It represents not only peace and good fortune, but also the resilience of the human spirit. Imagine the stillness of the folding process, each paper crane taking form, one fold at a time. The symbolic significance of each fold growing as the figure materializes in front of you. The quiet act of folding, the concentration and patience required, transforms the simple task into something profound. As you think about the symbolism of origami, consider how this quiet art form became a metaphor for the very spirit of Japan. In the culture of Japan, there is a strong emphasis on wabi-sabi, the beauty in imperfection, and the appreciation of the transient nature of life. The irregularities in the folds of origami, the slight creases that come from human hands rather than machine precision, are not seen as flaws, but as part of the beauty of the craft. There's an appreciation for the impermanent nature of things, for the quiet moments where everything slows down. This appreciation for imperfection isn't just limited to paper folding. It's woven into the very fabric of Japanese aesthetics, whether in the design of gardens, pottery, or even tea ceremonies. But let's not forget the subtle spiritual aspect of origami. For many practitioners, the act of folding paper is a form of meditation. It's a way to focus the mind, quiet the thoughts, and reconnect with the present moment. It's a practice that invites mindfulness. This meditative quality isn't limited to the monks or artists who dedicated their lives to origami. It extends to anyone who folds paper with intention. In the busy world we live in today, where our attention is constantly pulled in multiple directions, origami offers a way to slow down and center ourselves. Imagine the satisfaction of folding a simple sheet of paper, each crease falling into place with perfect precision. There's no rush, no need to hurry. As you fold, you focus on the here and now, on the texture of the paper, on the fluid motion of your hands. With each fold, you bring yourself a little closer to a state of calm, to a quiet space where you can simply exist. It's like a mini meditation, each fold a small, peaceful breath. Historians and cultural experts still debate whether the meditative qualities of origami were consciously woven into the practice, or whether it was a natural byproduct of the slow, deliberate process of folding paper. Some argue that origami was always meant to be a meditative act, while others believe that the spiritual and meditative aspects were a result of the time and culture in which the craft evolved. Either way, it's clear that origami is about more than just creating shapes. It's about embracing the quiet, intentional act of creation. As you sit, imagining the slow, steady rhythm of folding paper, there's a peaceful quality to it that's hard to ignore. The mind quiets, the body relaxes, and for a moment, all that exists is the paper in your hands and the gentle folds you're creating. It's a practice that brings us back to the present, a practice that reminds us to slow down and appreciate the beauty in the small, simple acts of life. Now that we've explored the deeper meanings and meditative qualities of origami, let's take a step back and see how this simple art form began to evolve over the centuries, becoming not just a form of personal reflection, but a cultural icon that influenced generations. While origami may have begun as a ritualistic practice and spiritual exercise, over time it transformed into something much more, a symbol of Japanese identity and a defining aspect of their artistic expression. As we move through the centuries, we see origami weaving its way through various layers of Japanese society, leaving a profound impact on art, education, and even politics. During the Edo period, origami took on a new role. As the merchant class grew in power and wealth, the simple folding of paper became a way for them to demonstrate their refinement and sophistication. Origami was no longer just an activity for the elite or religious practitioners. It became an activity accessible to all. For the rising merchant class, mastering origami was a sign of status and an indicator of their cultural literacy. It wasn't just about folding paper. It was about demonstrating that you had the patience and precision to create something beautiful. It was a subtle way to show that you were connected to a broader, refined cultural tradition. Historians still argue about the exact point when origami became a popular pastime for the masses. Some suggest that it started as early as the Kamakura period, while others believe that the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, was when origami truly became widespread. Regardless, it's clear that by the Edo period, origami had moved from being a practice of ritual and religious significance to becoming an activity that was cherished by all levels of society. In this way, origami serves as an example of how art forms can evolve, grow, and adapt to changing times. Picture the bustling streets of Edo-era Japan, where people from all walks of life could be seen folding paper in their homes. It wasn't just a leisure activity. It was a way to connect with others, a form of social engagement. People would gather in groups to fold paper together, exchanging patterns and designs, competing to see who could create the most intricate shapes. These gatherings fostered a sense of community and shared creativity as individuals learned from each other and passed down their knowledge of this delicate art form. The folding process became a way to bond, to share a moment of calm in an otherwise chaotic world. But origami wasn't just about beauty. It also served as a form of education. Teachers would use it to teach children important lessons in patience, discipline, and focus. The steps required to create even the simplest of designs demanded a level of attention that helped children develop motor skills, memory, and precision. Imagine a classroom full of children sitting at wooden desks, each one focused intently on folding a piece of paper into a crane. The slow process reinforcing their ability to concentrate. Origami, in this sense, became not only a way to foster creativity, but also a tool for building character. Origami's place in education extended beyond the classroom. It was also used in the training of future artisans and craftsmen. In Japan's traditional guilds, the craft of paper folding became an essential skill for students learning not just the mechanics of art, but the philosophy behind it. In this context, the focus wasn't just on producing aesthetically pleasing forms. It was about understanding the deeper meanings behind each fold and appreciating the meditative act of creation. Historians still debate whether the early Edo-era use of origami in educational settings was a formalized practice or simply a natural outgrowth of the craft's increasing popularity. While some scholars argue that origami was systematically taught in schools, others suggest it was simply a part of the informal learning process, passed down through family traditions or community gatherings. Either way, the fact remains that origami became an integral part of Japan's educational system. influencing generations of students and helping to shape the cultural landscape of the country. Now, as you sit with a piece of paper in your hands, imagine the quiet moments of the past when people, young and old, would sit together folding paper in silence, their thoughts wandering with each delicate fold. It's hard not to feel a sense of reverence for this simple art form, which has remained unchanged for centuries, providing both solace and connection in an increasingly complex world. Whether it was guarded for spiritual purposes, as a symbol of status, or simply for enjoyment, each crease, each fold carried with it the weight of Japan's cultural heritage. As we continue exploring the profound impact of origami, it's impossible to overlook how this simple art form, through its slow and deliberate process, became a significant part of Japan's broader cultural identity. But what happens when something so ingrained in the tradition of one culture begins to transcend its roots and spread across the globe? The journey of origami, from its origins in Japan to the farthest corners of the world, is an inspiring one, and its influence, both artistic and philosophical, is still being felt today. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, as Japan opened up to the rest of the world through trade and cultural exchanges, origami began to make its way out of the island nation and into the hands of eager learners abroad. At first, it wasn't a full-blown movement, but rather a trickle of curiosity. European and American artists, fascinated by the geometric intricacies and meditative nature of paper folding, began to incorporate origami into their work. The art form caught the attention of visual artists who saw in it not just a way to fold paper, but a way to create intricate, beautiful objects with a depth of meaning. Historians still argue whether the Japanese government's decision to actively share their culture during the Meiji period was the spark that ignited origami's global spread, or if the fascination was more organic, driven by artists' personal curiosity. Either way, by the time the world was entering the modern age, origami was no longer a purely Japanese practice. It had begun to seep into Western art and design. Imagine yourself walking through an early 20th century European art gallery. Amidst the oil paintings and sculptures, you notice a paper crane, a simple object made from delicate folds, displayed as a piece of modern art. It stands in stark contrast to the other works around it. Its geometric folds, so precise and purposeful, seem to speak a different language, a quiet yet powerful commentary on the beauty of simplicity. In this moment, origami has become more than just a craft. It has become a conversation between cultures, bridging the East and West through the universal language of art. In America, artists began experimenting with paper folding as a new medium for creative expression. But origami wasn't just confined to the world of art. It also found a place in the study of mathematics. In the 20th century, mathematicians were drawn to origami for its geometric properties, seeing it as a physical manifestation of complex mathematical principles, origami began to be used as a tool for solving problems in geometry, creating intricate patterns and structures that were otherwise difficult to conceptualize on paper. The intersection of mathematics and art was a natural one for origami, which had always been a blend of form, function, and beauty. Some might argue that the spread of origami to the scientific community diluted its original cultural significance, but others believe that it simply expanded its purpose, introducing it to a whole new realm of possibilities. The combination of art and science became one of the many ways origami influenced modern design, contributing to the development of foldable structures, packaging, and even the design of space-saving technologies. Some of the world's leading designers now incorporate origami principles into their work, utilizing folding techniques to create innovative products that are both functional and beautiful. Imagine, for a moment, a group of architects working on a futuristic design for a space-saving, foldable structure. They take a piece of paper and begin folding it, mimicking the techniques of ancient Japanese origami. The result isn't just a piece of folded paper, it's the blueprint for a fully functional design, efficient, compact, and adaptable to the needs of the modern world. What started as a simple paper crane in Japan has now influenced the very way we think about space, form, and function. The influence of origami, as we see, is vast and far-reaching. What began as a quiet, humble craft has grown to shape artistic practices, scientific methods, and even modern architecture. And yet, in its spread across the globe, it has not lost its original charm. The simplicity, patience, and mindfulness inherent in origami still resonate with people today. It has become a global language, one that speaks of beauty, complexity, and the power of quiet, deliberate creation. Historians still argue whether the widespread popularity of origami in the modern world has diminished its cultural roots, or whether it has simply adapted to a global context. However, what remains clear is that origami, in all its forms, continues to inspire and influence people, transcending boundaries and connecting cultures in ways few other crafts have. As we look further into origami's continued journey from a traditional Japanese craft to a global influence, it's important to pause and think about the personal connection people have to this art form today. In a fast-paced, technology-driven world, origami stands as a beautiful reminder of the value in slowing down, focusing, and engaging in a meditative process. In fact, in recent years, there has been a growing interest in the therapeutic benefits of origami beyond its aesthetic or cultural value. People everywhere, regardless of age, are rediscovering the joys of folding paper, using it as a tool for relaxation, mindfulness, and stress relief. This resurgence in origami's popularity has come at a time when many people are feeling overwhelmed by the digital age. The simple, deliberate act of folding paper provides a much-needed break from the constant buzz of screens and notifications. It's no wonder that origami has found its way into wellness practices and therapeutic settings. Imagine sitting at a table, your hands carefully folding a piece of paper into a crane. As you make each fold, your thoughts begin to quiet, and you start to focus solely on the paper in your hands. There's a sense of calm that comes with this act of creation, a feeling of being grounded in the present moment. In this way, origami isn't just an art form. It's a tool for mental and emotional well-being. Therapists and counselors are even incorporating origami into their practices, using it as a way to help clients express their emotions, process stress, and regain a sense of calm. There's something deeply symbolic about turning a simple, blank sheet of paper into something with purpose and form. For some, the process of folding paper is a way to make sense of life's complexities. Each fold represents a step toward understanding, toward creating something meaningful from what may have initially felt like an empty or chaotic situation. Historians still debate whether the modern-day appeal of origami as a form of therapy is truly a continuation of the craft's cultural roots, or if it's a new, westernized interpretation. Some believe that the mindfulness aspect of origami was always inherent in the practice, while others argue that the global wellness trend has repurposed origami to fit the demands of modern life. Regardless, it's clear that the practice of folding paper has found a new place in people's lives, offering a chance to unwind, reflect, and embrace the simplicity of the craft. Beyond its use in therapy, origami has also become a form of personal expression. While the traditional designs, like the crane or the frog, continue to be popular, modern origami artists have expanded the possibilities of what can be created. Today, origami has evolved into a highly creative and versatile art form, with artists folding paper into complex, abstract shapes, animals, and even entire landscapes. The beauty of origami lies in its simplicity. You start with a single square of paper and, through a series of precise folds, you can create an object that is complex, elegant, and full of meaning. Origami artists today often push the boundaries of the craft, experimenting with new materials, sizes, and folding techniques. Some use metallic papers. Others fold giant sculptures that can be displayed in public spaces. The versatility of paper as a medium is one of the reasons why origami continues to captivate so many people. The potential for creativity is limitless. If you can fold it, you can create something truly unique. Artists are constantly challenging themselves to see how far they can push the boundaries of what paper can do. And with each new creation, they are expanding the possibilities of origami. In schools around the world, origami is being taught to children as a way to promote creativity, enhance concentration, and develop fine motor skills. It's easy to see why it's a fun, engaging activity that encourages focus and patience. For kids, origami offers a hands-on way to learn about shapes, symmetry, and geometry, providing a tactile learning experience that's both educational and enjoyable. Imagine a classroom filled with children, each bent over a sheet of paper, concentrating hard as they fold it into a crane or a boat. The quiet focus in the room is palpable, and you can almost feel the energy of their creativity as they bring their paper creations to life. In the same way, origami is being used in corporate settings as a tool to encourage creative thinking and problem solving. Some companies have begun using origami workshops as part of their team building exercises, recognizing that the process of folding paper can promote patience, attention to detail, and innovative thinking. It's a reminder that creativity can be fostered in unexpected ways. And sometimes, the simplest things, like a piece of paper, can unlock new ideas and solutions. As you reflect on this, you start to realize that origami is so much more than a traditional Japanese craft. It's a universal language that transcends cultures, generations, and disciplines, whether it's a form of relaxation, a tool for creativity, or a bridge to new ways of thinking. Origami continues to inspire, heal, and captivate people across the globe as we continue to explore the lasting impact of origami. Let's take a moment to consider how this art form has been utilized in the realm of modern technology. While it may seem surprising, the principles of origami have had a profound influence on several cutting-edge fields, including robotics, space exploration, and even biomedical engineering. Origami's ability to fold, expand, and adapt with precision and efficiency has made it an invaluable tool in designing systems that must do the same. Take, for example, the field of space exploration. NASA has used origami-inspired designs to develop deployable structures such as solar panels and antennas that can be compacted for launch and then expanded once in space. The simplicity of folding paper into compact shapes that unfold into much larger structures has been applied to spacecrafts and satellites. The idea is that origami's foldable nature allows materials to be packed into small, efficient spaces, saving valuable room and reducing the overall weight of space missions. Imagine, for a moment, the quiet unfolding of an origami crane, except instead of paper, it's a space antenna opening up in orbit, precisely unfolding as intended. It's an elegant solution, one that might never have been conceived without the principles of paper folding. Origami also plays a key role in the development of foldable robots, which are designed to navigate tight, confined spaces where traditional machines would struggle. These robots rely on the folding and unfolding properties of origami to adapt their shape, enabling them to move through challenging environments such as collapsed buildings or narrow pipes. Engineers borrow from the logic behind origami's creases and folds to create flexible, adaptable designs that can change shape according to the task at hand. This application is transforming the way we think about robotics, where once rigid, mechanical parts dominated. Now we see designs that mimic the fluidity and adaptability of paper. The ingenuity of origami is giving robots the ability to navigate complex, unpredictable spaces, and the potential uses are nearly endless. Historians and scientists still debate whether origami's use in robotics and space exploration is an intentional evolution of its original cultural roots, or simply a modern adaptation of its geometric principles. Some argue that the connection is purely symbolic, while others believe that the principles behind origami naturally lend themselves to these practical applications. What is clear, however, is that the study of origami and its geometric properties has expanded far beyond its artistic and cultural roots. It has become a powerful tool for problem solving in highly technical and futuristic fields. But how does this all connect to the roots of origami as a traditional Japanese art form? It's fascinating to think that the same principles of patience, precision, and care that define traditional origami are now guiding the development of innovative technologies. The core values of origami, attention to detail, mindfulness, and a commitment to process, are being applied in fields that require the utmost precision and foresight. And just like the delicate art of folding a single sheet of paper, the development of these technologies requires time, thoughtfulness, and a deep understanding of how things work on a fundamental level. Origami's principles of folding and unfolding are also being applied in medicine, particularly in the creation of medical devices. Engineers are looking to origami-inspired designs to create compact medical devices that can expand once inside the body, such as stents or surgical instruments that unfold when needed. These devices can be inserted into the body through minimally invasive procedures, reducing the need for major surgeries, just as an origami creation begins as a single, flat sheet and slowly unfolds into something much more complex. These medical devices take a simple structure and transform it into something functional and life-saving. Imagine a tiny, compact medical device being inserted into the body. Once in place, it expands, just like the folds of a paper crane, adapting to the environment and providing the support needed to heal. It's almost poetic to think that the same principles of origami, which started as a form of artistic expression, are now being used to help save lives and make medical procedures less invasive. This merging of art and science is what makes origami so timeless. It continues to inspire, adapt, and find new applications in the most unexpected places. So, as you think about the vast, interconnected world of origami, ranging from its traditional uses in Japanese culture to its applications in modern science and technology, it's easy to see how this ancient art form has remained relevant throughout the ages. What began as a simple practice of folding paper into symbolic shapes has grown into something that reaches across disciplines, shaping everything from robotics to medicine, to space exploration. The future of origami is limitless, and it continues to evolve, always staying true to its roots, while embracing new challenges and innovations. As we reflect on the incredible versatility of origami in the modern world, it's clear that its evolution is far from over. But what about the tradition itself? How does this ancient practice hold up in the fast-paced digital age? It's easy to think of origami as something that belongs to the past, a traditional craft that has found a place in history, but may not fit neatly into the lives of people today. Yet, the truth is, origami has not only survived the test of time, but it continues to be an active, vibrant part of Japanese culture and the global art scene. In Japan, origami is still a significant cultural practice, deeply embedded in both daily life and ceremonial traditions. While it's true that the mass production of paper has changed the way people engage with paper folding, origami remains as relevant as ever. For instance, it is still a staple in Japanese education, where students learn the craft as part of their curriculum. Many children across Japan are taught origami in school as a way to develop motor skills, concentration, and patience. The hands-on nature of origami makes it an ideal educational tool, and it is often used in classrooms to teach everything from geometry to storytelling. Origami's role in the Japanese home is still strong as well. It continues to be a beloved pastime, one that offers both relaxation and creativity. Many families gather together to fold paper for festivals, birthdays, and other celebrations. It's not just about creating paper cranes or flowers. It's about the shared experience, the quiet joy of doing something with your hands. Together, in a world that's increasingly digital, origami offers a refuge, a way to slow down and connect, not just to the past, but to one another. Imagine a family in a cozy Japanese home with the soft glow of a lantern in the corner as they sit around a table, folding paper into intricate shapes. The atmosphere is calm, with no distractions, just the sound of the paper folding and the quiet chatter of family members sharing stories as they work. It's a moment of stillness in a world that's constantly moving, a simple practice that brings everyone together in a shared experience of creation. Origami also holds an important place in Japanese festivals and ceremonies. For example, during New Year's, the art of folding paper plays a central role in creating decorations, offerings, and even small gifts for loved ones. The simple act of folding paper into specific shapes carries with it wishes of health, happiness, and prosperity. These traditions are passed down from generation to generation, ensuring that the spirit of origami remains alive in the hearts of people today. Historians still debate whether the practice of origami in modern Japan has lost any of its cultural significance as a result of the digital age. Some believe that technology has overshadowed the more traditional arts, while others argue that origami has only become more important as a way to preserve cultural identity in a rapidly changing world. What's undeniable is that in Japan and around the globe, origami is still revered as a cultural treasure. It is a link to the past, a representation of Japan's reverence for simplicity and beauty, and a testament to the enduring power of human creativity. But let's think about it globally. How does origami fit into today's world outside of Japan? The rise of the internet, social media, and global connectivity has transformed origami into a truly universal art form. You no longer have to be in Japan to appreciate or learn origami. Online tutorials, videos, and global origami communities have made this ancient craft accessible to anyone, anywhere. People from all walks of life across continents are folding paper, sharing their creations, and learning from one another. Imagine scrolling through Instagram or Pinterest and coming across a post of a stunning origami sculpture. It's a complex design with multiple layers of folded paper, creating a geometric masterpiece. The caption reads something like, "Made this in my free time, learning from tutorials online." This person might be halfway across the world, but thanks to the digital age, they can share their love of origami with a global community. This interconnectedness brings people together, creating a shared appreciation for the art form that transcends cultural and geographical barriers. Origami has also found its way into the world of design and entertainment. Fashion designers have used the geometric folds and sharp angles of origami to inspire everything from haute couture to accessories. Architects have looked to origami to create foldable, space-efficient structures. Even the world of animation has embraced the beauty of paper folding. Origami-inspired designs can be seen in everything from movie sets to character costumes. With all of this global interest, origami has managed to remain relevant and alive in ways that are both unexpected and delightful. It is no longer just a cultural tradition of Japan. It has become a global language, a shared practice that connects people across borders through the simple act of folding paper. As we think about origami's journey from Japan to the rest of the world, it's remarkable how this quiet, meditative craft has not only endured, but thrived. It has transcended its cultural boundaries, bringing people together in ways that few other art forms can show. It's a reminder that no matter how fast the world spins, there's always room for a little pause, a little creativity, and a lot of patience. Now that we've seen how origami has evolved into a global art form, let's dive a little deeper into the creative and experimental side of origami today. While the traditional designs, cranes, flowers, frogs remain beloved staples, the boundaries of origami have been stretched, twisted, and folded into entirely new realms. Modern artists are pushing the art form in bold directions, incorporating materials, techniques, and ideas that were once unimaginable. The once simple craft of folding paper is now intertwined with fields like contemporary art, design, and even technology. Some of the most exciting developments in origami today come from artists who experiment with new materials. Traditional origami is done with paper, but modern origami artists are using everything from plastic to metal, fabric, and even recycled materials. Take, for instance, the work of contemporary origami artists like Robert Lang and Eric Demain. These artists are known for transforming paper folding into complex, three-dimensional sculptures that resemble animals, natural forms, or even abstract concepts. These designs often incorporate mathematical principles of folding, creating intricate models that could never have been made using traditional methods. Imagine the feeling of holding a piece of origami made from something other than paper. Say, a piece of delicate fabric folded into a butterfly. The texture is different. The folds take on new meaning, but the essence of origami, the patience, the precision, the focus is still present. It's the same art, but with a fresh twist. Artists are constantly experimenting with how far origami can go. Some are folding large-scale installations out of materials like aluminum foil or even cardboard, creating pieces that interact with the space around them, adding depth, dimension, and complexity. These large-scale origami sculptures are meant to be explored, to invite people to walk around and interact with them. They turn paper folding from a solitary, meditative activity into something that challenges our perception of space and form. But it's not just in the world of art where origami is pushing boundaries. In the field of architecture, origami has had a profound impact. Architects are using origami-inspired techniques to design folding structures, walls, and even entire buildings that can expand, contract, and adapt to the space around them. The concept of folding as a design principle has become a revolutionary tool for creating adaptable, sustainable architecture. Imagine a building that, when needed, can transform its layout by simply unfolding or folding specific panels. These structures could adapt to different environments, conserve space, or even generate energy in more efficient ways. There are real-world applications for this kind of technology as well. For example, NASA has utilized origami-inspired designs in the creation of solar arrays that fold up tightly for launch and then unfold once in space. The efficiency of folding and unfolding, of maximizing space and reducing weight, has made origami a crucial tool in the development of space technology. It's remarkable to think that an ancient Japanese craft, one that began as a quiet, meditative act, has now become an integral part of cutting-edge technological innovations. The principles behind origami precision, geometry, and adaptability are now being used to solve problems in science and engineering. Historians and modern scholars still debate whether origami's leap from a craft practiced by hand to a tool used in advanced technology and architecture is truly a continuation of its cultural roots, or if it represents a divergence from its original purpose. Some argue that this innovation is a natural extension of the creativity and discipline embedded in origami, while others believe that the core values of origami should remain rooted in its traditional cultural context. Whatever the case, it's clear that origami has evolved far beyond its original ceremonial and decorative purposes, finding new relevance in the fields of science, technology, and design. But amidst all these technological and artistic advancements, it's essential to remember that the heart of origami remains the same. Whether you're folding a simple paper crane or creating a complex 3D sculpture from fabric or metal, the process is still rooted in patience, mindfulness, and attention to detail. The art of folding paper, no matter how grand the scale or innovative the material, still requires a slow, deliberate engagement with the craft. It's about creating something beautiful and meaningful from a single flat sheet, a reminder that sometimes simplicity is the most profound form of creativity. As you imagine the progression of origami from its humble, traditional beginnings to its current place at the intersection of art, technology, and design, you can see how this art form continues to evolve, adapting to the world around it while maintaining its cultural significance. Origami is more than just a paper folding technique. It's a bridge between the past and the future, between tradition and innovation. It invites us to slow down, appreciate the beauty in the small things, and explore new possibilities for what paper can become. As we explore the world of modern origami, it's impossible to ignore the strong influence of origami on various art forms, particularly in the realm of visual art and sculpture. While origami has traditionally been thought of as something to be folded, creased, and turned into paper figures or animals, today's artists are expanding those boundaries in remarkable ways. The art of paper folding has, over the years, transitioned from simple creations like cranes to intricate, large-scale sculptures that can fill an entire room or gallery. This transition marks a significant moment in the evolution of origami, where it is no longer confined to the realm of small, handheld creations, but is being elevated to monumental works of art. In the world of contemporary visual art, artists are using the basic principles of origami precision, geometry, and the transformation of flat surfaces into three-dimensional shapes to create stunning installations. These creations often have an architectural quality, their folds and creases forming patterns that seem to breathe life into the paper. The folding process becomes an art in itself, as each crease has a purpose, contributing to the final sculpture's balance, texture, and visual impact. Some artists fold paper to create sculptural forms that resemble natural landscapes or animals, while others experiment with abstract forms that challenge our understanding of space and volume. Take, for example, the work of origami artist Robert Lang, one of the most recognized figures in the modern origami world. Lang's designs, while still rooted in the principles of traditional origami, push the art form to new heights His complex folding techniques allow him to create lifelike animals, from elephants to frogs, out of a single sheet of paper. The intricacy of his designs, combined with their near photographic realism, has earned him worldwide recognition. But what's truly fascinating about Lang's work is how he bridges the gap between art and mathematics. His designs are not just visually stunning, they are also mathematically precise. Each fold is calculated to ensure the paper will bend in just the right way, creating forms that look natural, yet are still entirely constructed out of flat sheets. Historians still argue whether the modern evolution of origami into large-scale sculptures and intricate, lifelike models is a natural progression of the art form, or a radical departure from its roots. Some critics suggest that by pushing origami into the realm of fine art and sculpture, its original cultural significance is lost, while others argue that the art form has only deepened and broadened, allowing for even greater expressions of creativity. What's certain, however, is that origami has firmly entrenched itself in the world of contemporary art, not just as a nostalgic relic of Japan's past, but as a living, evolving medium for artistic expression. The relationship between origami and sculpture is more than just technical. It's emotional and conceptual as well. For many artists, folding paper is a form of meditation, an intimate act that mirrors the process of creation itself. Each fold represents a deliberate choice, an unfolding of thought, of form, of intention. In this way, the process of making origami is as important as the finished product. When an artist folds paper into an abstract shape, they're not just creating an object, they're exploring the relationship between space, form, and time. The result is often a piece that feels alive, dynamic, as if the paper itself has been transformed from something flat into something that occupies space in a whole new way. Origami's presence in contemporary art can be found not only in individual sculptures, but also in public art installations. Large-scale origami-inspired pieces have begun to appear in public spaces, galleries, and exhibitions worldwide. These installations often take on a monumental quality, sometimes measuring several feet in height, and are designed to interact with their environment. Some installations use the principles of folding to create structures that play with light, shadow, and perspective. The paper sculptures seem to change their shape depending on where the viewer stands, creating an experience that is both visual and spatial. It's this interaction between the viewer and the piece that sets origami apart from many other art forms. It's not just a static image, but a dynamic creation that responds to the viewer's position and perspective. But what's perhaps most exciting about this modern iteration of origami is how it has influenced the world of architecture. Many contemporary architects, inspired by the fluidity and adaptability of paper folding, have incorporated origami-inspired designs into their work. This influence can be seen in foldable structures, from bridges to buildings, that use folding mechanisms to create flexible, space-saving designs. Origami principles allow architects to rethink how spaces are used and how they can adapt to different needs over time. For example, some architects have designed walls and ceilings that can change shape at the push of a button, folding in or out to create different configurations depending on the use of the space. These foldable designs are inspired directly by the concepts of origami, where a flat surface can be transformed into a fully functional, three-dimensional structure. Origami's influence on architecture doesn't stop there. The geometry and precision inherent in paper folding have led to new ways of thinking about structure and material. Lightweight, foldable materials inspired by origami are being used to build more efficient, sustainable structures. Architects and designers are experimenting with origami in ways that could revolutionize how we think about buildings and spaces in the future. As cities grow and spaces become more cramped, origami offers a way to create adaptable, flexible structures that can evolve as needs change. As you think about these large-scale origami sculptures and architectural designs, it's amazing to consider how a simple piece of paper with the right folds can lead to such incredible transformations. What started as a humble craft with just a few basic folds to make a crane or a frog has evolved into an art form that inspires everything from art exhibitions to space-saving innovations. Origami has not only remained relevant through the centuries, it has continuously found new ways to shape the world around us. As we continue exploring the many facets of origami, let's pause for a moment and consider the many ways in which the philosophy behind this ancient practice has influenced not only art, but also everyday life. Origami isn't just an artistic expression. It's also a way of thinking, a philosophy that can be applied to many aspects of our daily routines. The principles that guide the art of folding paper, patience, precision, simplicity, are qualities that resonate deeply in a world where speed and convenience often dominate. There's a beauty to slowing down, to focusing on a single task with intention, and origami offers us a quiet reminder of that. In Japan, the values embedded in origami, such as mindfulness, attention to detail, and patience, are not just taught through the craft itself, but also through the way it is practiced in daily life. These principles are reflected in traditional Japanese concepts like mono no aware, the awareness of the impermanence of things, and wabi-sabi, the appreciation of the beauty found in imperfection. When you fold a piece of paper into an origami crane, each crease, each bend is a reflection of the careful and thoughtful choices made along the way. The simplicity of the paper is transformed into something much more, not just in its shape, but in its meaning. This transformation mirrors the way that everyday actions, no matter how small or simple can be imbued with significance if we approach them with intention and care. Imagine standing in a traditional Japanese tea house where every movement is deliberate. The way you bow, the way you hold your teacup, even the way you fold a napkin. It's all part of the philosophy of mindful living. Just like in origami, there's an emphasis on the process rather than the result. It's about being fully present in the act of doing, whether you're making tea, folding paper, or simply walking. The art of origami, in this sense, is more than just an aesthetic pursuit. It's a way of connecting with the world around you, of appreciating the beauty in the simple, fleeting moments. The principles of origami can also be seen in the way modern-day individuals approach challenges and problem-solving. The precise folds in origami teach us about the power of patience and the ability to take a complex problem and break it down into smaller, more manageable steps. Think about the way an origami artist works with paper. No matter how complex the design, they start with a simple square and fold it one step at a time. The artistry lies not just in the final result, but in the process. Each fold is deliberate, intentional, and a building block toward the finished piece. This idea of breaking down a larger task into smaller, manageable parts is something that can be applied to many aspects of life. Whether you're dealing with a difficult project at work, learning a new skill, or trying to understand a complex concept, the same principle applies. Start with the basics. Take your time and focus on the process rather than rushing toward the outcome. This slow, mindful approach mirrors the philosophy of origami and its emphasis on creating something beautiful through patience and precision. Historians still debate whether the slow, meditative process of origami was intentionally designed to cultivate mindfulness, or whether it was simply a natural byproduct of the craft's intricate folds. Some argue that origami was always about bringing the practitioner into the present moment, while others suggest that its meditative qualities were recognized only in more recent times. Whatever the case, it's clear that origami has always had a deeper purpose than merely producing aesthetically pleasing shapes. It's about fostering a connection between mind, body, and paper, a reflection of the deeper connections we can create in our own lives when we slow down and approach tasks with care. In the modern world, where much of our focus is on speed and efficiency, origami offers a counterbalance, inviting us to appreciate the beauty in slowing down. Whether it's in the form of a paper crane or a large-scale art installation, origami teaches us that sometimes the most meaningful creations take time. It's a lesson that's easy to forget in our fast-paced lives, but one that is deeply necessary. Now, imagine yourself folding a simple piece of paper. The quiet focus, the deliberate precision of each fold brings you into the present moment. For a few minutes, the world outside fades away. It's just you and the paper. The same principles of patience, precision, and mindfulness that have guided origami for centuries are now guiding you. offering a moment of calm, a small respite from the bustle of modern life. As you fold, you begin to see the beauty in the process itself. The paper is transforming, and so are you, slowly, gently, one fold at a time. As we draw closer to the end of our exploration into the world of origami, let's take a final look at its lasting legacy and how it continues to inspire not only art, design, and technology, but also the very way we perceive the world around us. Origami, in all its forms, remains a powerful symbol of creativity, patience, and mindfulness. From its humble beginnings in Japan to its status as a global art form, origami has evolved and adapted in remarkable ways. Yet its core principles remain unchanged. Origami's legacy is not just confined to the paper that is folded, but to the lessons. It teaches lessons of resilience, precision, and transformation. Each fold, each crease represents a step in a journey that is both creative and meditative. The beauty of origami lies in its ability to transform a single piece of paper into something meaningful and purposeful. Regardless of the complexity of the final design, it's a reminder that, like the paper in your hands, we too are constantly transforming, evolving, and taking shape with every small, deliberate step we take. In the world of modern design and technology, origami's influence is still very much alive. Architects, engineers, and designers are continually inspired by the principles of folding, using them to create structures, devices, and systems that are both functional and beautiful. The flexibility of origami-based designs allows for innovative solutions in everything from space-saving furniture to foldable electronics, and even self-assembling robots. Just like the intricate folds in a sheet of paper, these designs unfold new possibilities, offering unique approaches to solving modern-day challenges. And yet, despite the vast reach of origami in technology and design, the core appeal of origami remains personal. At its heart, origami is still about taking time to slow down, to focus on the present moment, and to create something with our hands. The simple act of folding paper allows us to connect with our creativity and mindfulness, offering a form of respite from the hustle and bustle of daily life. Whether we're folding a crane for good luck or simply folding for the sake of folding, the process itself is an act of self-expression, a gentle reminder that creativity doesn't have to be rushed. In Japan, the tradition of origami is still passed down from generation to generation. Families gather together to fold paper during holidays and festivals, passing on the art form as a way of connecting with one another and with the past. Origami continues to play an important role in cultural celebrations, from New Year's to weddings, where the act of folding paper is seen as a gesture of goodwill, respect, and connection. The crane, a symbol of peace and longevity, remains one of the most recognizable images in Japanese culture, embodying the spirit of origami in its simple yet profound form. Globally, origami continues to transcend cultural boundaries. Online communities of origami enthusiasts and creators now connect people from every corner of the world, exchanging ideas, designs, and inspiration. Whether you're folding paper alone in your living room or participating in a global origami challenge, the act of folding connects us all. It's a reminder that no matter where we are or where we come from, we all share the same basic human desire to create, to express ourselves, and to connect with others. Now, as we close our exploration of origami, take a moment to reflect on the beauty of the process, the quiet act of folding paper, and the many ways it has transformed our world. Whether it's in the form of an art installation, a technological breakthrough, or a simple crane folded in the quiet of your home, origami invites us to slow down, to connect, and to create something beautiful, one fold at a time. In this fast-paced, ever-changing world, origami offers a timeless reminder that even the smallest, most delicate actions can lead to something meaningful. The art of folding paper, like the art of living, is about taking things one step at a time, with patience and care, and in the end, the result is something beautiful, something that can stand the test of time, just as origami has.